Amy to talk to us. Amy is from CIT, and she has been instrumental in enabling staff and students to use e-learning to maximum effect. She is keen and knowledgeable and strives to keep up with working technology.
Recording started.
Thank you. Today, Amy will present on the evolution of CIT users, acceptance testing for Moodle environments. If I can just ask that you turn your phones to silent. And Amy, welcome.
Thank you. Hi, as Michelle's just said, my name's Amy. I work for the Canberra Institute of Technology, so just down the road from here. My main position is, well, my role is actually called, and I've just realised there's a screen in front of me there, so I can actually turn and face you. How cool is that? Sorry. Yeah, my role is eLearn Training and Support Manager, so I look after the eLearn Help Desk, as well as dealing with all the upgrades to our system, to the CIT system. So, my slides are looking very strange on this system. They haven't really gone through properly. Oh well, hopefully it's all good. So what is eLearn? So CIT's eLearn is a combination of 3 different systems. We have Moodle, we have Aquella linked to this, and we also have, on a separate instance, is Adobe Connect. We did for a while have Wimber, but Adobe Connect's our version of this virtual classroom that you're seeing in front of you here. Our upgrade process. Now, we have a continual maintenance process within CIT. We try to keep it as up to date as possible with our system. What actually happens then is, for what happened to begin with, is we actually started doing all the upgrades ourselves. For about a year or so, when we first had Moodle, which was in 2010, we had NetSpot doing all this, and I think a few of you probably know of NetSpot anyway. They basically did everything for us. As of 2013, we started doing all this ourselves with the help of the Shared Services ICT team. If anybody works for government, you will probably know who Shared Services ICT are. Basically, they're the government ICT people. In that same year, in 2013, we decided to do the upgrade from Moodle 1.9 to Moodle 2.3. Quite a large update, as I'd say a few of you may know. With this update, though, to keep things a little bit simpler for us, we tried to keep a vanilla install of Moodle, basically in saying that we didn't want to make any changes to the back end, to the core of the program. By doing that, we would actually mean we don't actually have to have a programmer working for us to do any changes. It makes it a lot simpler, everything's easy, and having no core changes means there's less issues that may occur. In 2014, so beginning of this year, we did our upgrade from Moodle 2.3 to Moodle 2.6. And as of January next year, so coming January 2015, and what we're in the process of doing at the moment, is we will be upgrading from Moodle 2.6 to 2.7. Okay, so what I'm going to go through basically here is what the UAT documentation is. So UAT is user acceptance testing. So this is actually the testing documentation that we go through every time we do an update or an upgrade to Moodle. It basically checks that everything is working, keeps the system integrity, makes sure that the teachers, what they need to do is working fine, everything along these lines. Now, the original documentation that we started with came from our Moodle partner, NetSpot. They did most, as I said before, they did most of the testing for us, so there was not much that we needed to do. However, we did actually have to cover some basic testing. Now, we found the basic testing was rather repetitive. We have special roles made up for our users, so we have our teacher, our standard teacher and student roles, but we also have different admin roles based on the level of support that is being given to the teachers and the students. So we actually had to test these, but in testing teacher, student, and our 2 admin roles, it became very repetitive. I can't see my mouse, I'm going to flip over to the documentation. So this is actually and I'm going to need to screen share that. Sorry guys. Just for the ones online. Okay, this is the original user acceptance testing documentation that we had, and it's actually very repetitive. It's 11 pages long, but each and every part of this is repeated over and over and over and over again. So you can imagine, and we have to do this on 3 different systems. So you can imagine how tiresome that would become, and just, yeah, we just got very, very, very sick of it. I am trying to stop this. Bear with me for a moment, guys. Here we go. Okay. Okay, so yeah, the test plans are repetitive. I'll move over to the next one. So from our upgrade in 2013, when we started doing this by ourselves, we recreated the testing documentation. It just made things a lot easier and made it more prudent for our system. So our upgrading process for this, with our testing plans as well, we actually start with doing all of this in eLearn development, in our development environment. We go through, we check the settings, we do all the testing, we create the guides, we create the user acceptance testing documentation while making sure everything is working fine within our development environment. From there we proceed to our eLearn test environment, go through the same process again. Now these two development and test environments are intranet only, so we can't access these from outside of CIT. So we sit there and do this for, I don't know, hours on end. I've lost count of how long it actually takes me to do them these days. So we confirm everything's working there. We also confirm that it's all working with our student management system and also our Aquella integration. And I'll give you an example. I will show you an example of one of the new ones that we've created. Ruth, can you see that being shared? No? Hold on. Which one I'm looking at? Is that coming up? Thank you. Okay, so this is the user acceptance testing documentation from Moodle 2.3 that we created in 2013. So it does cover, it's still repetitive, it's just not as bad. We have a lot more in it to test some of the other features that we needed to test. For example, we had the plugins that moved over from 1.9 to 2.3 that we needed to make sure were working correctly, otherwise we'd end up hearing about it from teachers. We also had to test the roles, because we had to recreate those roles. So we actually had 3 roles back then. We reduced that down to 2. Basically this tests to make sure that those users could see specific parts of it, rather than actually testing the entire system, because the roles are based on the teacher role. So providing the teacher worked, then the rest of these would work, and then we just test those additional levels. Okay, so basically what I'll go through here is the lessons that we actually learnt from doing this. So every year we go through and we go, okay, so what do we need to do better next time we do this? So we sent those written test plans out to the teachers, found that really didn't work too well. They didn't seem to be able to follow through very well with them or work out what was going on. So something to fix up for next time. This student testing plan, now that was perfectly fine. We didn't seem to have a problem with it. However, we needed to make sure the activities were created for the students to do it first. So it was a little out of whack in the way things were done. We upgraded over the Easter long weekend. Worked out really well for us. However, the students seem to actually want to do work over the Easter long weekend, go figure. So not the best time of the year to do these things. And a little lint bunny, we got those brought in on the Easter long weekend, and they actually worked pretty well. I think it took me about 2 days to eat mine though, so it was a little bit slow. Alright, so our upgrade at the beginning of this year, again, we recreated that user acceptance testing documentation. Not necessarily reworked is probably a better way to put that. Started that probably October last year to get everything running. We also did scenarios. We created a few scenarios for the teachers so they didn't have to run through that step-by-step plan. We could just say, okay, can you create this as if you were creating it for a class? That seemed to work pretty well. We had to create a brand new theme for CIT. as a lot of people may know, marketing is very strong on a lot of places, so you have to stick to the colours and the guidelines and everything along those lines. I'm getting a few smiles around here, so obviously people do understand that. So we needed actually to make sure, and our theme designer who did that actually created a very, very, very large mind map to map out all the pages that she needed to make sure were working. We did again test the current plugins, and we changed the major outage time. So we did that at, I think it was the first week back from Christmas break. Seemed to be fine. Nobody wanted to do any work at that time of the year, so everyone was fine with that. I'm going to do another quick share to the scenarios. So these are basically the scenarios that I've created. What I had done is I'd sent out to each of the teachers, okay, give me one simple, and one complicated, complex result. So basically, this one's conditional release. I'll show you an example here. The quizzes. We have a teacher in the area that is fantastic with the calculated quizzes. We sit there in the office and we've got no idea how to use them. It's the one thing that we will all admit to going, how about I pass you on to this teacher? He's really good at maths, he can do it for you. I may have gotten an 86 in my maths HSC, doesn't mean I have any idea how to do that. So we send that off to them. We get the experts essentially to do what they are good at. That's probably enough for that one. Okay, so this is part of the communication strategy to the teachers and students. So we actually sent out approximately 6 updates to the teachers via internal email telling them what was going on. We also did a video for students, which is available on the CIT YouTube page if anybody wants to hear my voice. Trust me, you don't, it's pretty boring. So that's what that blank space is meant to be on there. I'm happy to link you to it, but it's really not worth it, guys. And again, we did learn more lessons from this one. The scenarios worked out well. The timing of sending out these scenarios didn't, however. We gave them maybe about a week or so before the Christmas break when they were having to put all grades in for end of year. Not a good idea. We got about, 3 out of 25 back. Pretty poor result. But, you've got to learn these lessons. Now we do continuous updates of the Moodle system throughout the year. Throughout this year we did approximately 10 minor updates of the system. We were doing it the last Friday of every month. Basically the process involved in that was very long and arduous, and it would take about 2 to 3 weeks per update. And doing that on a monthly basis, it is quite a lot of work. We had to do all our testing in our development, our test environment, and then our production, our live environment. And then we also had to do some change requests and get everything approved, go through an approval process. So we will be changing that this next year. So going through the current update process, I actually completed all the updated testing documentation as of, I think, 6 o'clock Friday. Our test environment is hopefully online now. I'm hoping, because I've got a team ready and set to go do testing of it this week. The updated test plan, actually, I was looking over it because of the last test plan. Because of all the plugins and everything that we added in the last year, our user acceptance test plan, our large one, ended up with lots and lots of little things added to it. Made it a little bit, it didn't really flow very well, we found. So what I actually did is I went through and sort of fixed it all up and made things a little more ordered and more user-friendly for us, so that we're not sort of back and forth into different activities. We kind of just run through it a little bit quicker. At the beginning of the year, we also created an eLearn user group, and we got, I think there's about 20 to 30 people in CIT within there. They're more involved, they know what's coming now. We have, like, I think there's about a monthly or bi-monthly meeting or something along those lines that are done. They get to vote on whatever changes come through. I think there's a vote out there at the moment in regards to something basic, as in a colour of some text. because we couldn't get a consensus in our team, so we just went, all right, let's get the user group to make a decision. It lets them feel a little bit more involved. The advantage of the user group is they will be there for testing. So next week, I think it is, more scenarios will be created, and we're going to specify the scenarios. At the moment, my colleague is actually working on a list of every user in that user group and saying, okay, we speak to so-and-so quite a bit about blah. So we have a teacher that's really good with the Moodle plugin, which is, if anybody knows what that is, it's actually an audio tools plugin. They're really good, they use it all the time. There you go. You do some testing on the way that you would normally use that, and so on and so forth. So like I said, that's going out in the next fortnight, and I'll give you an example of what the new ones actually look like. You have to excuse my sniffles, guys. Hay fever's driving me up the wall. Here we go. As you can see, the colours have actually changed. So previously there was blue. I think last year was pink. I'm not sure you can actually tell that on the screen, but anyway. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's mainly it's for me mainly. I go, okay, so I know that I'm using the right one. It's so the team knows that they're using the right version of whatever they've got. Yes, the file structure is completely organised. I'm a bit of a file organisational freak. But it just means that we all know that what's happening. So all our documentation for this year has a green tinge to it, green style. So in regards to this one, we've also included some stuff with the theme. A little bit more thorough, but it's gone up one page. It's one page different to last year. However, based on numbers, just for the teacher part of it, this one's say 32 for the 32 points of things to test for the teacher part. The last one was 25. So by even only going one extra page and getting that many differences, it's changed significantly. Now, if anybody's got access to the attendee zone, you are more than welcome to have a look at all these. I've loaded them all up. Use them for your own systems. Go nuts. I have no problems with that whatsoever. Why reinvent the wheel when somebody's already done it? And there isn't really anything like this out that I'm aware of. I spoke to Moodle HQ at a conference earlier on in the year, and they're trying to get me to make it available for everyone. So, yep, that's all there. Now, I will flip past that. And the slides don't go up very well in here. The communication strategy has started for this year, for this next upgrade. So update 1 going through, this is our little bit that we've got, and giving information to the teachers that nothing is going to be lost. The major thing that we've got to point out is they're not going to lose their work. It's the big panic from everyone when there's going to be an upgrade. Oh, what's going to happen with this? What's going to happen with this? We just have to try and remind them that they're not going to lose their work. Again, we're doing that continuous update process. However, we're dropping it back to 6 for the year. So approximately every 2 months, based on other things that are happening within CIT. A little bit less for us to do. It's going to ease things up and make us let us do a few other things throughout the months. And in fact, I've already got the first update plan, so I think it's due for end of March. I'm pretty sure I've got about 6 things already on my board. I know 4. No, there was actually 2 more that got added this morning, so I need to change that. There was actually 6 things as of things that I heard this morning that I already want to add to it. I have to discuss that one with the manager first. Now, plugins testing is the last thing that we have. Now, we do, because of, I'll check on the time, I've got 5 minutes. All right, I can quickly run through this one. Give or take. Thank you.
Save some time for questions.
Brilliant. Because we have to go through our ICT team to install things, and because all the Moodle plugins are community developed, they're really hesitant. It's taken us, I don't know, Margaret, you probably know how long it's taken us to try and get some in there. Forever. I know. It's absolutely insane. Margaret used to work for us, and she used to know the arguments that used to go about us trying to get little features put into the system. So we've actually started doing that. But part of that is each new plugin we have to go through a thorough test plan to make sure that everything works out okay. I'll actually give you a demonstration of that one. I'm getting the hang of this now. because this is the accessibility plugin that we got put in last year. This is part of the test plan, and this is what we have to go through. This is just a little flow chart that I've created so that they know that this is what we will be going through to go through it. We have the request from a teacher that comes in about what they want. There isn't actually a name against this one because an entire college at the time requested this. They needed it. For those of you who don't know what the accessibility plugin is, I recommend it. It's a great little plugin so that you can actually use it to change the size of the text, have text to speech. I always get the two confused back and forth. All sorts of good things on there. I'd suggest having a look at it if you don't know much about it. So this is actually really helpful for our ESL students and so on and so forth, the disability students, things like that. But anyway, we go through the testing in Firefox, in Internet Explorer, and have passes and fails, and then in ELAN tests, and then in production once it's ready to go through. It's a long process to do it. Once that's all done, once it's installed, there are always updates. There are always updates to plugins. So you've got your major updates to the system, then you've got your little updates to plugins. So again, that same test plan needs to go through. So this is the documentation that we go through. And yeah, it does seem like a lot, but that one probably would take even a basic user, someone that hasn't really used it, no more than 5 minutes. So, okay, maybe 10. I go through them in about 2, but I've been doing them for a way too long a time. Now, all those plugin test plans for all the plugins that we've got in our system are also up on the attendee zone in the course, so if anybody wants to use them, again, go nuts. I think that's one of the ones that Moodle HQ actually wanted to put into the plugin database on Moodle.org. So, fingers crossed we can try and do that. And I think basically just saying we've got some issues in regard. We have had issues in regards to documentation. We've missed a few things, so we add them on. I think I update the test plan after each upgrade because there's always something that I've gone, oh, all right, we need to check that, we need to check this, so on and so forth. And our update process. I had a comment from one of my colleagues the other day saying I need to put more pictures of cats in my thing. So this is what we look like at the end of the update process in cats. I tried to get a picture of my own cat, but she wouldn't stay still enough for me to get a photo. So it's either falling asleep on your computer or head against a floor, brick wall, whichever way you want to look at it. Yeah, so we actually go through everything at the end of an upgrade process, so probably come February next year, we'll be going through everything and go, okay, what did we do wrong, what do we need to fix? But that's pretty much my extremely long and boring process of user acceptance testing. Thank you.
Yeah, in regards to your time that you take to do this, could you probably provide a percentage-wise? Is this 50% of your task to manage the update or on a yearly basis?
Okay, so for those that are online, if there is anybody, the question was what's the time frame, so what sort of a percentage of my job is that sort of a task? I'd say you're probably close with around about 50%. Give or take what we actually do throughout the year and how major the upgrade is. The 1.9 to 2.3 I probably would have classified as a 75% because that was an absolute headache and I will never do it again. I say that now. And I don't think Moodle will do that sort of thing ever again because they got lots of grief about it. On top of this, we also have all our guides. So I actually do all the guides on how to use the system. I mean, you've got the Moodle guides, but we actually have our own. I'm happy to show them if anybody wants to see them. I could probably do that as a share while we're talking. So yeah, we go through and do all of those guides as well. So it kind of all gets joined up as everything. I can't even get this open. I can't even see this. Okay, so yeah, we have a large variety. So yeah, so 50% doing the test plans, doing the actual testing. So on a monthly basis, though, if we were to do it, I would say yeah, good 50. It's a long process, but anyway, most of the time I enjoy it. I won't say all the time. When things don't work, that's when the curses start coming out. Anybody who sat in an office with me, Margaret Robson, would probably know that all too well. Has heard all sorts of things come out of my mouth, but she's been there for a lot. So yeah, these are all the guides. This is just one page of them about all the activities that we've got. So when I go through the test plans, my colleague's actually got a folder about that thick at the moment with all the guides printed out saying, okay, we need to edit this for this upgrade, and this. So she's going through highlighting, okay, we need to fix this screenshot, we need to do this and that. So that's a lot of work, but I've got to say I do